Happy Wednesday, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed your Easter. Today, I want to continue our Wednesday study. If you remember last week, Kirk actually finished the Encounters with Jesus study. So we're going to move on to something else for the next few weeks, and we'll see how far it goes. It depends on what happens with this virus and when we're back in church, but for the time being, we're going to be studying some history. So, what we're doing is based on the book Trial and Triumph by Richard Hanula. So, I'll provide a link if you want to buy this book and read along with us. It's a very easy book to read. The stories are really short. It's got about 50 stories from church history. It is free on Kindle Unlimited, which has a 3-month free trial. And I think the paperback's $10 or $11 if you're interested in that. But we're going to be going through this book and learning about church history. This is really pertinent to us now because we like to think of ourselves as we're the first ones to deal with things. We're the first ones to encounter something like a pandemic. But all throughout church history, people have been dealing with issues similar to the ones that we're dealing with, and we can learn from how they did that. So this is really valuable for us now as we're dealing with this. It's also valuable just for the rest of your life to be able to understand where you come from. So today I kind of want to introduce it and answer the question, why do we study church history? Why look at these stories of people from the past? Well, the first thing is the Israelites, if we use them as an example, even some to this day, even some Jewish people to this day, have always considered the events that happened to the Jewish people in the past events that happened to them. Does that make sense? So for a lot of Jewish people today, and certainly around Jesus' time, there was this concept that the Exodus, where there was a Passover, Moses led the people out of Egypt, all that, they considered those things that happened to them. They had a connection with the people from their past. And this is really the right way to think about it, because the Exodus was not something that happened to individual people exclusively. Of course, there were individual people there. There were people that it happened to, but it happened to the people of Israel as a body. And they understood that the people of Israel was not just inclusive of the people at that time. The people of Israel expands across centuries. The church is the same way. The people that you will read about in that book, and the people that we'll tell you about on Wednesdays, these people are your people. Once we all get to heaven, once Jesus returns, you will be with the people that you hear about in this book. They are your people. And so it's important for you to understand your place in God's story and your place in his people. And it's important for you to really embrace these people as your people, as people that you can look to. Now, none of them are perfect. None of them were Jesus. They all had lived sinful lives like the rest of us, but you can learn a lot from them. So that's the second thing. Not only are these people our people, and we want to know the story of our people, we also can learn from what these people did. Just as an example, the first two are Blandina and Polycarp. These two were martyred in the 2nd century, I think. And you can learn from their trials what they did, how they did it, and how you can be encouraged and find courage for yourself in these trials. Let me pull up the table of contents. So you also have Athanasius. If you don't know who Athanasius is, he really defended the Christian faith almost by himself in his day. It was being overtaken by people that believed erroneous things about Jesus. And there's a saying called Athanasius contra mundo, Athanasius against the world, because he was really standing against the world when he was dealing with what he was dealing with. You'll also hear about Constantine. We'll actually talk about that next week. Constantine institutionalized Christianity. He's the first Roman emperor that was a Christian, and it changed the face of Christianity forever. You'll hear about the reformers like Martin Luther, who, if you've, again, I may have said this before, but if you've never heard the story of Martin Luther, it's well worth reading. You'll hear about people like John Bunyan, who was imprisoned for 12 years for preaching the gospel. So you'll hear about all these people and the trials that they went through and the battles they fought. And what this teaches us is how we can fight battles in a Christian way. The Bible is our ultimate authority. It's our source of truth completely. But we can't forget that there have been hundreds, thousands of Christians that have gone before us, dealt with the same issues that we've dealt with, and thought biblically about those issues. And so, while the Bible is our ultimate authority, and we want to hold the Bible in the highest regard, we have to understand that we're not the only ones talking about it. We can learn a lot from each other, but we can learn more, I would say, from the people of history who have already thought about these things. They've done a lot of the legwork for us. And so I would encourage you, feel free to get the book if you're interested in reading along with us. It's not required. We'll retell these stories every Wednesday, and we'll talk about them some. But I would encourage you, we definitely won't have time to go through all 50 or so of these stories. So I would encourage you to get the book. Read it. They're really simple. If you read one a day, it would take you about 2 months to get through it. So I would highly encourage you to do that. And my prayer is that this is going to be something that encourages you, something that will stay with you for the rest of your life, and something that can help you in this time specifically as we deal with the coronavirus. So that's our short introduction to our little excursus on church history that we're about to go on. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. There's a link again to this book below. And we'll see you next week to talk about Blandina, Polycarp, 2 martyrs, and Constantine, the first Christian Roman emperor. See you then.